Hey everybody, I am Tommy and you are on the lifeboat. Good morning. If I missed you yesterday and you didn't catch me, you were probably spending some time with your family. Merry Christmas. Karma Chameleon, good to see you. Kristen Melinda, how are you? Hey Priska, Roberta, how you doing? Tommy Bird, how are you, Tommy Bird? Hope you had a Merry Christmas, man. The kids enjoyed it. That's what it's all about, man, right? Couldn't pay me to do it over. I got that too. Allison Metcalf Palumbo. I don't miss the having to make it special for kids. It was so much fun doing it when I was a parent and Spanky was young and stuff. That was so much fun, but there was a really heavy amount of pressure, man. If you've never whipped out that thing to wrap it like 11 o'clock at night on Christmas Eve to read partial assembly required on the box, not a fan. Not a fan. Tractor, good to see you. How are you? Hey, Blessed to Crochet. How are you, Mary? Kathy, good to see you, Kathy. Angie Moe, the Noose Nut. What? That's not Bug Tussle. You mean that? No, well, look, I had to do the dad thing. And here's the other. Hello, Meredith Lynn, good to see you. When we had the discussion where I said, hey, actually, I didn't. My girlfriend said, hey, throw a one up there in the chat if you think that the two of us should do a show for New Year's. There were a lot of ones. However, we didn't plan it very well. It was not really enough time to. Hello, Lisa Trimble. Hang in there, my friend. Rachel, good to see you. Teresa Clay, how are you? I was under the I was under the gun. It was a very short period of time, so I had to at least stretch it out as much as possible. Hello, is that Shikapia from Egypt? How cool is that? Annika's mom, how are you? Brenda, good to see you. Hey, Robin. Alyssa, good to see you. Linda, Judy Jetson. Rachel Marie Duffy, how are you? Mary Alice is here. Glad you are. James Collins cares, and he does. And he does. Who's that? Hunter Bay? Is that Hunter Bay? Rachel, good to see you. Welcome, Hunter Bay. Teresa Clay, 10 a.m. where you are? Huh? Sounds about right. Sounds about right. So you're in the good old US of A. There's plenty of us. Angie Campos, how are you? Majesty, how you doing? Hey, Christy. Andrea Malloy, good to see you. Scooby Lee. Ian Wallace, how are you? The Diva is here. Wait a second. The Diva just, I'm trying to bum you out at all, but the Diva just made use the restroom here in the corner. My cat, I'm telling you, for end of music, for a little animal this big, I'm not exactly sure how it's possible that she can make some of the smells that she makes. But she's worth it. By the way, I keep talking about this kitty litter box, and it occurred to me, it's not a kitty litter box. It isn't. It's a cat for a toilet. I mean, a toilet for a cat. If you don't see that, I told you she just used it. It's cleaning it up right now, and I require absolutely nothing. I don't touch it. It's a cat toilet. That's joy right there, people. That's the joy of the holiday season right there. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you another joy of the season. I've been saying now for a hot minute that we're getting a little bit fed up as a society of how this society has turned. And I mean, as the world, not just the US of A, although obviously my perspective is a little bit more rugged in the US because I'm here and I get a good look at it all the time. Yeah. So you're just starting to see things that we took for granted that were just part of society. Like, hey, if you run out the door at a store and you're carrying $900 worth of merchandise, people are going to tackle you and beat the crap out of you. Right? Happened to me. Like I've been in absolute. When I was still in prison when it started to get weird, right? And people started robbing stuff, and we would see it on television, and guys were going, "Man, wasn't like that when I was out there. You know, we got arrested. People beat you up. They tackled you, took you to the ground." I watched videos where there was a video. Johnny Scoville, my brother Johnny Scoville from Chase the Heat, and I were watching something the other day, and there was a guy mouthing off to a cop, right? And he's dropping F-bomb after F-bomb. He's talking about things he's done to this guy's daughter, right? I mean, the foulest, most disgusting conversation you've ever heard. And Johnny said to me, how long would this have gone on, right? Well, how long would a cop have let us do this in, say, 1992? Right? And the answer is literally, not only would they have arrested us instantly, but we'd have gotten the crap kicked out of us. And guess what? That's not such a bad thing. I'm sorry, it isn't. There was a time where, we sort of took care of stuff, but we're seeing a paradigm shift. And I've been talking about this for a long time. And vis-a-vis Sean Combs, let's knock him out real quick so people don't accuse me of burying the lead. They're saying and they're reporting in a lot of different places that he's on a hunger strike. The guy's not on a hunger strike. I promise you he's not. There's a lot of stuff that I can't get. There's a lot of information none of us can get, but he hasn't been moved, right? That I can tell you. So he's in the same unit. If you went on a hunger strike, they're not leaving you in your unit. You can't do a hunger strike in your unit. It's not allowed because they can't keep an eye on you. You can walk around in your unit and step into someone else's cell and talk to them, and you're not on camera. So while you go into that other cell and you're not on camera, you could be whooping down, Pop-Tarts left and right. You could be doing all kinds of eating stuff. Gordon, good to see you. From Cape Town. Love that. Love that. Boy, if we got a lot of people from South Africa, man. It's crazy. Hey, Mickey Brad. Hello from foggy UK. Good to see you. So he's not on a hunger strike. Doesn't mean he's not cutting back on what he eats. It doesn't mean he's not refusing meals. You can refuse all the meals you want. Yeah, keep your tray. He doesn't go to a chow hall. You understand? They're not going to chow halls. This is not like a regular prison. He is being fed in his unit. Plain and simple. So they bring the trays in. He can just not grab a tray, stay in his cell. And by the way, that happens all the time. Tons of people blow off their trays because they buy food at commissary and they'd rather have a ramen soup with a little bit of instant refried beans, maybe cut up a little jalapeno wheels. Actually, come cut up, but grab some jalapeno wheels and throw them in there. Hey, prison hooch hack. If you're trying to create a bug so that you can make prison hooch and you're having a hard time getting it to turn, if you take the juice from that, your little jalapeno stuff and dump it in there, it'll turn overnight. There you go. That's my nugget of knowledge on this beautiful Thursday. Donna, good to see you. How are you? You're boiling water to use in a neti pot. You put it in your schnozzle boiling? That doesn't sound healthy. I hope you cool it down. I made a mistake once with my Navage, which is kind of like a turbocharged neti pot. If you've never seen one, it fires water up your schnoz, right? With some vigor, right? It goes up there turbocharged, a big stream of warm salt water. Goes up one side, comes down the other. And the other side you see has suction. So it just, but I once put tap water on there that was too hot. I don't, nothing boiling or anything like that, but I tap watered that stuff and it was too hot. And it almost fried my brain. The reason I seem to hop from subject matter to subject matter probably has more to do with the bad experience with the Navage than it does with that traumatic brain injury. You like the pimp hat? Why, thank you. This was a gift from someone on the lifeboat. And when I talk about the low lights in Hollywood, it feels almost appropriate to put it on. It's kind of a Huggy Bear kind of a vibe. Hey, Sweden, nice to have you here, Annette. But this is, and by the way, I will be in Bug Tussle. I promise. I'll be there. I'm going to, I am absolutely going to be there for the New Year's. Up your nose with a rubber hose. You did not just say that. You did not just say that. See that? We even worked in a backdoor Scientology reference. I always like to work in a backdoor Scientology reference. You do realize that's a backdoor Scientology reference. Sort of. It could at least be tied to it in some way. So here's the deal, folks. Here's the deal. New song just came out from a cat named John Rich, right? Does country stuff. Big and Rich is probably how he's best known because he's got a partner and the two of them do this stuff. But people are starting to say things that you wouldn't normally hear people say, especially if they're in the public eye, right? We're very concerned about our image, we as human beings. And if you make a living doing something where you have an audience, right? Or you have fans or whatever, you got to be careful of the things that you say because it's very easy to insult part of your audience, or it's easy to come off sounding like a lunatic. And so people just don't really step up to the plate. right? And we find ourselves not saying things when we probably ought to. And I've been screaming about this for a hot minute, right? I mean, we're somewhat complicit if we don't do something about it. Sorry, I don't normally do the morning show. It's usually Spanky, so forgot that light hits me right in the eyes if I do it. So he got really PO'd when he saw a video that had resurfaced, and this video was of Sean Combs going on a rant. I don't know what the dude did for biscuits that day. Like, I don't know what pills he ate or whatever, but he gets up on stage and he gets this look on his face that John Rich described when being interviewed about this as demonic. And when I describe this, you're going to go, I know what clip you're talking about, because you guys are all Diddy, well-versed in the Diddy verse, so to speak. But it's that clip of film where he gets up there and says, we decide what your kids are going to wear. We decide how they're going to dress, right? We decide how low they're going to sag their pants. We're taking your souls, right? We are taking your souls. He says, just bold and in your face. And then says, and we're going to make the decisions about what your kids do, not you. That's some bold crap to say from the front of the room, man. That is some, oh, squirrel, why do you have to be such a cat? Thank you. Such a cat. If there is a door shut, a cat is always on the wrong side of it. I mean, I love Squirrel Nut Zipper, and she has complete reign of the casa, right? We really let Squirrel go wild wherever she wants, but there are certain things that she does. 5 a.m., for instance, man, you just do not want to be around at 5 a.m. because Squirrel runs this house, and at 5 a.m., she's got a list of like 6 things that you need to knock out, and if you don't do them and in the specific order that she wants, you're in the doghouse all day. Not fun to be in a doghouse with a cat. So this rant that he went off on was seen by this country music entertainer, and he wrote a song being well, that was fun. If you knew the detour that I had to take, thank you for sticking around. You guys are absolutely incredible. I had to fire up everything in this casa again. I don't know exactly what happened because we never lost internet signal, but it sure as hell screwed everything up here. So let's get back to business. Yeah, Squirrel Nut Zipper's revenge. Not bad. She might have, I wouldn't put it past her, man. She's really been on one. So this song kind of encapsulates everything that I've been talking about with the paradigm shift, the paradigm shift that we're seeing, and I predict is going to be the defining characteristic of 2025. Is going to be a paradigm shift as a society, and I mean as a world society, of saying, you know what? Got to come to a stop. We got to stop being freaking human beings again. I'm going to give you just a couple of pops from this song, and I think this will give you the flavor of where we're going with this. The lyrics say, evil runs around this town undercover, looking for a soul to take, but they better stay away from the righteous hunter or hell is all they'll pay. You ain't got a clue what daddy will do. Better give your soul to Jesus while I get my, better give your soul to Jesus while I get my, he was interviewed about this on a place called the Sage Steele Show. And this is a quote. He said, "If you come after my kids, I'll kill you. Try it. I would much rather spend the rest of my life in prison and know that my kids are okay. They have no understanding of the level of sincerity that regular, everyday Americans, and I will say, for my part, the world, has when it comes to their kids. I would much rather stand in front of a freight train than ever let you lay a pinky on my kids." And these arrogant bastards going out there like Sean Combs said, "We'll take your soul. We own your kids. We determine what clothes they wear. We guide their lives," with this crazy and demonic look in his eyes. Standing on with a microphone on stage with bright lights and television cameras. And he's saying this to us. Okay, Sean Combs, why don't you come try it on this one? I don't think we would have heard statements like this a year and a half ago. I just don't. But I think that that's a pretty decent message for the people on planet Earth currently. Because you know what? Even if you're not a parent, right? We've let stuff happen to kids, right? That the amount of shame, and by the way, we all own it. I promise you we do. And that sucks. There are people that own it a lot more than some of us, but we all own it, right? It's time to lose a few subs. What do you think? Because here's how it goes down for real, right? The number one cause of death in America is drug overdose, right? By a freaking landslide. The number one cause of death in America is overdosing on drugs. And the reason is we got fent and nitazines and the combination of that and xylazine to make this trank-like, the trank opioid, right? This sort of designer garbage pail drug that they're making now that's killing people faster than cancer or heart disease, right? Because the border is a sieve. You can walk through it, and it's very, very easy to transport anything you want across that border. And you know what? If it's just killing us with drugs, that sucks, but it is what it is, right? Those people made a decision to do that dope, didn't they? Unfortunately, 330,000 kids go missing because of that border. And here's the effed up thing for those who shout that it's a racist border. All of the people that shouted that, right, voted for that wall. Barack Obama voted for the wall and encouraged his entire party to do until it would have given the other party a win. By the way, don't start spiking the football if you lean right, because the exact same thing happened in the other side. Nobody wanted to give either team a win. And while that's been going on, 330,000 kids will disappear. It's terrifying. It's terrifying. Real T, congratulations. Thank you for being here a month. I say congratulations because putting up with me for 30 days, that is worth that. Oh, I'll lose some subs. And if I lose them, I'm happy they're gone. Because this isn't politics. It's not, right? Politics is why they're missing. But we're going into 2025, and the right thing is going to be the right thing. So we got to stop taking it. You guys know who Ghislaine Maxwell is? You guys know who Ghislaine Maxwell is? This was Jeffrey Epstein's right-hand woman. And she's the only one to ever get convicted since Jeffrey didn't make it, right? He unalived himself with a little help from his friends, a little help from his friends. He didn't die the way that they told us he died. I promise you. It's my opinion, but I promise you, right? I am very, very well aware of how that program works, where they protect people who they think are going to bump themselves off in federal prison. And the story that they fed us is absolute horse crap. But Ghislaine Maxwell sits in federal prison. Good, right? You know what she's in there for? She's in there for procuring and selling kids. You got this? Who did she sell them to? Nobody. Isn't that something? She's sitting in a federal prison for selling kids to no one. Then how was she convicted? She sure didn't get to face her accusers. Who did she sell these kids to? How did we not think that was a problem? How did we not go completely bat crap crazy? Well, because you can't see it from my house. Ain't got nothing to do with me, right? Who cares? Got nothing to do with me. And you probably don't know any of the 300,000 kids that went missing, right? And why are they missing? Because we have a heart this big and we want to bring all of those people in, right? Let's help everybody. Sometimes the best of intentions make the worst freaking things happen. However, sometimes it isn't the best of intentions. And sometimes we got to be willing to yell, even if it means that people are going to get a little angry at us. Right? We got to step up to the plate. Thank you, Rich. I really appreciate you. You know what? This holiday season, I've never, no matter what you see in a video somewhere, I've never asked for money ever. I've never said, hey, I really could use this. I don't do it. I never will do it. And we turned down cash. People wanted to pay to help Q in his legal funds. I'd never, ever take that. It's not how we do it. But I'll tell you something. This helps. This December has been absolutely amazing with the donations. It really has. And that's a big deal because I'll tell you what, if I say Voldemort's name, I'm not getting paid. Right, for real. And there's a lot of other things now. They're making it really difficult, right? Like the Royal Order of Justice video was killer. But if it wasn't for you people, I would have made not $1 on it. And guess what? If it's the right thing to do, I'll run the thing for free. I will. It's 2025, and we're going to pump out the truth in 2025, and we're going to call people out. We are. We're going to call them out. And we're going to call them out if they're part of our political party. And we're going to call them out if they're the other political party. We're going to call them out both. You know, both. Right is right. Right? Right is right. It's never going to change. The right thing to do, it's beautiful. Never changes. Unfortunately, we stopped caring. And the insane thing is, right? This lets everybody know what's going on. Like, you don't have to be a genius. You just got to stop watching CNN and Fox, right? You don't have to be a genius. Social media, there are so many people that are talking about what's going on. And we've gotten to a place. You're damn right it is, Stephanie. Thank you again, Rich. That's the beautiful thing about this too. That is the beautiful thing about this. You understand? And here's the great thing. Honestly, if we got our you-know-what together, as of right now, we got 4 years, right? We could have our stuff so buttoned up and tight if we just became human beings. 4 years from now in this country, we could just say, guess what? We're not going to put anyone in office that has ever been in office before. That should be the battle cry, right? There's politics for you. No incumbents. You've been in there, got to go. Not going to vote for anybody. Don't care what your political party is. If you've been there before, you got to go. Let's start from scratch. It worked a couple of 100 years ago, right? Get a bunch of people together that are plumbers and teachers, right? And football coaches, massage therapists, normal folk, right? Because when you get these people who are politicians and they've been in business in there for 25 or 30 years, they can't tell you what a gallon of milk costs. They haven't put something into a car to pump gas in 20 years. They probably couldn't tell you anything that goes on in the real world. And they live in this world that we pay for. That's insane. It's insane, right? If you're let's say you're a senator from Hawaii, our tax dollars will fly you to Washington, D.C. for a vote, fly you back to Hawaii to catch your kid's soccer game, then fly you back for a vote the following day. And we'll just keep doing this forever. And they have a job to do. Their job is to legislate. What does that mean? What does it mean? It means passing bills, right? Writing laws. So if they don't write laws, then what? They sit up there and they do nothing. So we got to keep coming up with about 30 to 50,000 new laws a year for no freaking apparent reason. Honestly, it's terrifying. It really is. And they don't write any of the stuff themselves. They don't. None of these people, you know this? You know this? Because a girl can be a bartender on Thursday and 2 weeks later can show up with a bill that thick, the first one she's ever written. Think she wrote that? Picked up all that legalese between bartending and, hey, I just got sworn in? No, it's not how it works, right? It isn't. Lobbyists write the entire damn bill and hand it to you. You sign your name on it. And I'm sure they just do a Thanks. Good looking out. Appreciate you doing that, right? I'm sure they don't give them anything for that. It's pretty damn pathetic, this system that we've built. And the sad thing is the concept behind it is perfect. It really is, right? The people governing. Unfortunately, we would have been better off with a king. But really, because now what we got is hundreds of kings that can't get along, right? It's absolutely horrible. It's absolutely horrible. Why not let them stay in office if he's doing good? Well, that's an excellent question. And here's what I will say to that. The problem becomes this. The problem becomes it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible with the system the way it is structured now for these people to not get tempted to the point that all of them to some level are complicit in this bullshit. It's been going on forever. In 1933 in the United States, we passed the Act. And this was designed to keep people from cheating on Wall Street. So if I own a company and I know that the company just got a deal with the United States of America for, say, $9 billion. Now, our company's never done more than $3 million in sales in 1 year. So this is a big one. And our stock is going to go from $2 a share to probably $700 or $800 a share. And if I just tell a couple of friends, their life will never be the same. Right? You'd hook your friends up. That's a violation of the Act of 1933, insider trading, and they will arrest you and send you to prison for that, right? Check out Martha Stewart's case. But if you're in political office in the United States of America, and you're on the Transportation and Safety Board, right? And there was a plane that crashed, and let's say it was a Delta plane, and you're going to have a hearing, and you're going to try to determine all of these things to find out if Delta screwed up, because it might not have been Delta. It could have been a service that they're using who fixed their engines. Now, I'm making this shit up, so don't call me on it. But you understand what I'm saying? It could have been one of three people or three entities or agencies or companies. Everybody's waiting, because if it turns out that it's Delta's fault, well, then their stock's going to crash. But if it turns out that it's not their fault and they're exonerated, their stock's going to go way up. And you can bet on Wall Street on a stock going down, just like you can bet on a stock going up, right? Shorting versus, there's a lot of ways to get over on them, but it's not even illegal if they decide to take a little run. If they decide, you know what, I'm going to buy a little Delta stock. Why the hell wouldn't I? I know it's about to happen. Then they call their other friends and they say, hey, guess what? I found out Delta's going to come out smelling like a rose on this crash. You might want to grab some Delta stock while you got a chance. It'd be a pretty good decision. And the person that they call, who's not on the National Transportation and Safety Board, says, well, I got one for you, because the guys over at Ways and Means, you understand? Everything that's happening, they're all bouncing this stuff back and forth, which is why people take office with a net worth of $30,000 or $1 million or whatever the case may be. And then they make $250,000 a year or whatever the pay is. And they leave office 10 years later worth $50 million. Or $100 million. And the best part is they're not breaking the law. They're not breaking the law. It's not against the law. They can do this. Isn't that something? Right? Isn't that something? Now, would you want term limits? Hell no. You get there and they assign you 12 to 13, right? Teenagers, people that have not quite hit 20 yet, who are wanting to volunteer because this is going to be their lives. And you got your little group of slaves to do whatever you want. You also got a ripping gym facility, right? A lot of real sweet bennies. But it's gone off the rails, man. It's gone off the rails. How about just the concept of an earmark? You guys have seen commercials all the time. They're usually right around elections. And they say stuff like, Tommy Scoville voted against a bill that would help children, right, by giving them oxygen. Tommy Scoville wants kids dead. Right? We all see these commercials at every election, right? And you just go, God, who votes against something like that? Well, they didn't vote against that. They voted against something for a new missile, defense system that we're giving to another country or whatever. And then at the bottom of it, they put all of these other earmarks on it. And a lot of times they'll literally just set the thing up so that when a person votes against something, they can say later, yeah, they don't want to fund, school meals for homeless kids in school. No, they didn't want to vote for some new fighter jet that was going to cost us $9 trillion to develop. Put the right earmarks on the bottom of them, and guess what? Every swinging you-know-what that was going to vote yes says, yeah, I'll vote yes on your thing, but I need you to do this. I want an earmark on the bottom of this. So the bill shows up, and they want $900 million for a project to do X, Y, and Z. But by the time it's done, it's $1.5 billion because all the pork that every single one of these people need to add a little something to that if they're going to vote for it. And you know what they call that? Negotiation. They're peeing money down the toilet for stuff that people don't need. We could buy $5,000 toilet seats. But this is how you get reelected. Because in your state, you can say, hey, what did I bring you? Huh? Did I bring you business? Did I hook this state up? I did. By voting for whatever didn't mean squat to me because I got your earmarked on the bottom. Why do we allow earmarks? This is the stupidest concept in history. Hey, why the hell would we need any of this? How about you can leave office on a Friday, right? And 2 weeks later, you can be working for a company whose job it is to go up there, talk to everybody you used to work for, and try to get them to pass bills. In other words, buy them. Right? Call lobbyists whatever you want. Their job is to buy politicians. I defy you to give me a definition of what a lobbyist is that makes more sense than that. Their job is to throw cash around to get people to pass bills. Very often bills they wrote themselves. It's a frightening concept, especially if you think that these lobbyists are hired by people like Philip Morris. Why? Well, because we don't want to pass any laws to protect kids from tobacco or anything like that if it's going to hurt business, right? Or insurance companies that want to do this, or car manufacturing companies that want to do that, or any of these things where if we could just get the government to do this, well, how much money is that worth you wasting? If you could get the government to pass a bill that's going to change your company's net market cap by like 50%, that'd be worth spending 20 or 30 million on, wouldn't it? And you say, Tommy, you just can't give money to a politician. No, you can't. You can't. And if you think, well, you could donate to there's a cap to how much money everybody can donate in the United States to someone running for office. But there is no cap whatsoever to how much money you can donate to a political action committee, a PAC. So they'll say, hey, we're going to start a PAC. We're going to call it the Citizens for Tommy Scoville's reelection. And we're just going to fire it up with $5 million. How would that be? What did you want me to push? What earmark do we need? What do you want me to sign? Or there's always this one too. We really want to talk to you about X, Y, and Z, right? Could you fly to the Bahamas? Because we're going to be on that side of the world anyway. Could you and your girlfriend or wife come to the Bahamas and we could talk about this for 2 weeks? Now, are they giving him money? No. There's nothing illegal, right? They're just flying him to the Bahamas. Now, there are casinos in the hotel. They might give the guy $500 in chips or $1,000 in chips to gamble with. They wouldn't say, here, this is from the company. But you sit down at the table and the guy goes, and throws $3,000 in chips on your table. Like this crap happens constantly. It's my girlfriend. Relatable Reese, how are you? People, if you've not gone over and subscribed, if you got a wrench, please put the links up for Relatable Reese and for my brother, Chase the Heat, Johnny Scoville. We are going to be fighting this this get down together. We really are. And there's a fourth. I saw him here earlier. My friend Sam is also working with us on this. And it's getting bigger, by the way. There are people who are now reaching out. The number of people that have reached out on the Jesters clandestinely since Reese and I did our show is nothing shy of phenomenal. Now it's a matter of vetting all of these people because it's hard to believe that this many people want to see this thing go down. But we're getting a lot of love. It didn't happen the last time. Thank you, Quibsy. This is the year of the reckoning. It is. I promise you. Cat Williams famously on the Shannon Sharp Club Shay Shay program said 2024, the truths will come out, right? This is the year we're going to find out about all of these lowlives and the things that they've been doing, right? And we did, didn't we? Got a real good idea. got a really, really good idea. I'll tell you what, I got a question. Love you too, Quibsy. I had a question recently. It was at the end of the last chat, and I honestly was hitting the button, and I didn't get a chance to answer it. But the question was about superseding indictments and what do we think is coming down. The 31st, New Year's Eve, right? New Year's Eve is the day that they have to have all of the discovery over to the Sean Combs defense, right? All of it. They got to have all of the discovery, and I'm talking about terabytes, and they got to get it over there. And I don't want you to think that they do this in an organized fashion, because they are dicks. Like when I got my discovery, it was probably 3,000 or 4,000 pages for real, and they're out of order. Like they don't even, they just kind of throw stuff in. And I'm reading things. I'm like, I never got arrested for this. This has got nothing. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's criminal history part of the case. And they're just throwing stuff in that wasn't even me. Like they did everything they could to really be confusing. I don't know if they're going to be able to get away with that with Diddy, but I don't think they're ready to hand all that over. I don't. So once that superseding indictment comes down, it's really going to cause everything to slow down. And it's going to buy them a lot more time. Thank you, Realty. I love that. You will thank me later. I promise you. And joined all the memberships. Good Lord. Thank you. How kind is that? Let me make you a promise, people. All the time people say, what can I do? Right? How can I fight this? What can I do? Be very judicious how you spend your money. Be very judicious how you spend your money. We fund these idiots. Right? We fund these idiots. You're also going to have an opportunity. It's going to come up. You're going to have an opportunity where you can reach out to elected officials. Right? It's easy as hell. They all have email addresses. It's so easy to bombard these people, and we need to. We need to start asking questions as a world, right? Where is the client list for a woman sitting in prison, right? She sold kids to who? To who? I'm no Ghislaine Maxwell fan, but how do you keep somebody in prison if there's nobody? If there's not a John, how is there a pimp? If there's not a customer to buy these kids, then how is she in prison for selling them? Doesn't make any sense. Thank you, Jeremy Fowler. I tell you what, I'm not going to stop yelling on that. I promise. I'm not going to stop yelling. I'm not. And I'm going to do things that I never would have done in the past. I'll be really honest. I'm wicked circumspect about where I go on other people's channels. And the reason is, Squirrel, can I help you? Squirrel. Oh, the mess she is making, you cannot imagine. She's pulling all of the, get that little snot.
My question, if that makes sense. Hey, Squirrel, what the hell's wrong? Come on.
Is it similar to a domestic case where neither want to press charges?
The state says
no. I understand exactly what you're saying. Sometimes in shotgun kitty. Thank you so much, Jeremy Fowler. I appreciate you. We're going to keep yelling. Chase the heat. My brother Johnny Scoville is asking, there are times where a guy will beat a woman up, right? Or vice versa, but it's usually a guy, obviously. And because this happens as often as it does, the woman will say, I don't want to press charges, right? I did something to bring this on. It happens very often with people who are abused. They're terrified, right? To report this is going to be worse for them. So they'll say, I don't want to press any charges. And the state will go, I don't care. Because of how many times it's happened, the state, most states will say, we're going to prosecute whether or not you want to, because a crime has been committed. It's a little bit different with Ghislaine Maxwell. What it is this. If everybody on that list was a Democrat, we'd probably know what's going on. If everybody on that list was a Republican, we probably would know what's going on. That's my opinion. My opinion is that thing is salt and peppered, right, with both parties and heavily. So you've got a bunch of politicians who now have a vested interest, right? Because if it's one side, trust and believe the other side would have made that happen, right? They would have made that happen. But the fact that he's sitting in prison for providing this service to no one is the reason you can't let anybody stay. For real. They all got to go. You can't have incumbents. These people will protect themselves. And when you see them yelling with righteous indignation, it's because their butt's covered. They know that they can go off on the person on the other side of the aisle and it's not going to cost them a thing. That's when you see them yell. And it can't be that way. The reason that we were a great experiment back in the day is because these people planned on leaving, right? There's a famous story. Would you please move this cat to Denver, Colorado? Maybe get her a small 2-bedroom apartment with another cat. I'd be willing to pay the rent. I'm kidding. I love that kitty. But there's something about, see, we adopted my daughter Squirrel at Christmas time. Yeah, the evil cat. We adopted her at Christmas time. And my brother pointed out the other day, Squirrel doesn't think this is Christmas. She thinks once a year we celebrate when we got her. So like everything that's going on, the gifts, that's for her to just shred stuff. All the ornaments on the tree, those are just games we've set up so Squirrel can run and knock stuff down and chase it around. It is her day. This is all about, this is her party. And there's just no convincing her otherwise. So she has ripped a hole in a box and it has the packing stuff that's the shredded paper. And she has now made a pile of it in the middle of the floor. Love that cat. I really do. No, you will not. No one will take Squirrel. Honestly, Squirrel is the second love of my life. I hope she didn't hear that. She's one of the 2 loves of my life. It is cat logic. Yep, she's something. You have 5 cats inside and 2 outside. Wow, I love that. I love that. 4 a.m. zoomies are tough. Yeah, cats are incredible. They're the greatest creatures in the world. So I'm going to yell, and I'm going to do it throughout this entire year, right? If you want to question how you can help, be very judicious with your money. Don't pay for these people's lifestyle, right? Don't give them, and now we celebrate Squirrel Day. Don't give them your cash. Don't pay for these individuals to continue their lifestyle. The saddest part about deep dive in the Diddy thing is, that you read the story and, they're in these homes that have 37 rooms, $62 million homes. Where do you think that cash comes from? Huh? It comes from millions of people that gave him $7 or $8, right? It's from all those people that bought all of that tequila and all of that vodka that he was pushing. This was us being dumb enough. No, thanks though. This is us being dumb enough. I'm not very bright sometimes. But Johnny Scoville is, we gave them their money. We allowed this to happen. We did. Now, admittedly, at the time, we were younger, right? We were younger. But what did we do? We bought certain stuff because stars wore it. We drank certain stuff because stars pushed it. It's embarrassing. It is. Now, it's not embarrassing if they're great people, right? If somebody inspires you and you want to support that, that's fantastic. Knock yourself out. But they weren't even displaying. I mean, looking back on it now, if they were displaying the worst of behaviors while we were doing this. I mean, the clip I referenced earlier, where he went on stage and said, we're going to steal your souls, right? We're going to determine what your kids wear, how they, where they shop, the stuff they buy, the music they listen to, how they dance, them sagging their pants, all of this stuff. We're going to kick you out of there, mom and dad. We're going to run this show. What could possibly go wrong? He was out there in our face telling us this stuff while getting rich, right? Going on the Conan O'Brien show and saying, well, you got to make sure you have locks on the doors at the parties. You don't want those girls getting out, right? The audience laughed. I mean, they have been in our face, right? There you go. I'm proudly buying some Michael Franchese from, I love this. Yeah, there you go. Support the people that you believe in. There's nothing wrong with that. By the way, I'm a fan of Michael. I really am. I know that people come down on one side or the other. I'm a fan. I really am. By the way, won't make me popular either, but I catch people make a lot of noise about dropouts. I talk about prison all the time and people talk about dropouts. You know what a dropout is to me? Huh? A guy smart enough to leave a gang. Take that whatever you want, right? That makes me an uncool convict. Feel free to unsubscribe. But I'm not still a convict. I'm not. I'm a guy that went to prison. I left that crap at the gate. Thank God. Right? Thank God. And for people who walk away from a gang, if that makes somebody a bad person or stupid, you're on the wrong planet, man. For real. You gotta check it. Seen too many movies. Guys, stepping away from the gang mentality is a beautiful thing, man. I got nothing but respect for it. I'm sorry, but that's how I feel. That's how I feel. So we're going into 2025, people, right? You're going to go to a New Year's party, hopefully at Relatable Reese on YouTube, where you will be seeing all kinds of Scovilles. I will be on there. Johnny Scoville is going to be on there. There's going to be, it's going to be all kinds of fun. And the following day starts 2025. And you know what? There are great t-shirts and memes and be the change, right? Be that spark that starts the fire, whatever. Look, I promise to continue to do what I do at the peril of people making up really crappy stories about me and filing lawsuits and all of the other fun that happens when you do this. I promise. I'll ride that all the way to the beach. But everyone else also has got to step up to the plate. For real. This has to become a movement. Or in 10 years, people will be going, you remember the dude in the stupid purple hat? He was talking about this a decade ago. Royal Order of Justice. Right? 1989, they had him dead to rights. I was a freshman in college. Right? My girlfriend was 5. She driving you nuts?
Oh, my God.
Give her the entire thing of treats. That's it. Lay out 70 of them. That's the spirit. We'll keep her chowing on treats. And pull that door shut for her. To Denver. Really a fun kitty, 99.9% of the time. Trouble is, Johnny Scoville tells my cat jokes, and I don't think she finds them funny. I think she's starting to get a little sick of the bad humor. That's what it is. And a lot of that going around. If you've not seen Johnny's shorts where he tells jokes to Squirrel and she responds, it may be my favorite thing on the internet currently. No joke. I'm not. And he's killing it. He's getting a lot of views on it, but it is really, really funny stuff. I think it was a great idea. And now people are sending him jokes. Now people are sending him jokes to tell Squirrel. You only hear the punchline, but it's funnier than hell. It really, really is. It's worth checking it out. No, we're not letting anybody slide in 2025. We're not. We're going to do the right thing, even if people get angry about it, right? I caught some crap because the other day I said, I don't want drag queens reading to my kids. I also don't want real women dressed that way to be reading to my kids, nor guys, right, going down in G-strings or whatever to read to my kids. If that makes me a bad person, then we have jumped the rails, right? To be accepting, I'm accepting, but I would like to accept people around my kid who are dressed appropriately. It's not that these people are trans. It's how these people went in dressed, wildly inappropriate. Right? I wouldn't want a stripper, right? I wouldn't want quibs going in dressed inappropriately. We need to protect them, right? God help us. We need to prevent them. Nobody gets a pass in 2025, right? I'm going to lose subs for saying that. And honestly, thank you. Have a great day. Don't let it smack your backside on the way out. I'm guilty of it. Everybody's guilty of it. Doesn't mean I'm going to turn into to some lunatic, but you know what? I can't tell you how many times I pull punches because I think to myself, you know what? I just hit 27,800. I'm like at 27,801. When this video is over, now I'm going to be at 27,790 again. And it's a YouTube disease. It's something that you do think about because you look at analytics and it's kind of how it works. And you know what? This is the year where that field that grows my you-know-whats will be barren. I'm not going to pull punches. I'm just not. If somebody needs it, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it because if the people that are doing what I'm doing aren't going to talk about it, no one else is going to. For real. And I'm going to talk about it if the viewership goes this way or if the viewership goes that way. If I lose views, there's right and there's wrong. And 2025 is the year that we're going to do good and fear not, right? We're just going to do the right thing, or we're just going to trust that means good things are going to happen. And I believe that will be the case. Yeah? I'm putting a pretty decent team together on this too, for real. Antonio, good to see you. Glad that you're here. Woofy, that is the kindest thing anyone has said to me in a very long time. Thank you. I appreciate the hell out of that. I really do. I'm proud of this channel. I really am. You know, there's 2,500 videos or so, and every one of them is about an hour, you know, an hour and a half, some two. There's a lot of content that we've done. And the vast majority in the beginning was specifically for people who are trying to get sober. I love what I'm talking about. I love being the kind of the true crime, the ex-criminal commenting on true crime. I did not believe anyone would take me seriously. No joke. I didn't see myself going this way. I was going to stick to what I knew best, which was being a drug addict, and what getting clean from that entailed and all that. That was my wheelhouse. I felt very comfortable doing it. And then the Danny Masterson thing. I was brought in, like happens often, to comment about what it's going to be like, you know, for him when he gets arrested and he's in jail and what that feels like, because I can usually articulate that, right? So, and during the process of that happening, I went out to the sentencing, and at the sentencing, I met the Jane Does, and it was surreal because I was my YouTube channel was recovering addicts, a lot of them, and I knew every damn one of them. I really did. I mean, I had 5,000 or 6,000 people, but I knew everybody. And when I got out there and realized that there were people who knew me and I didn't know them, I had never really experienced the whole, hey, I know who you are, which was wild. And the Jane Does came up and said, I don't ever miss a show of yours when you're talking about this. And after having a chance to get to meet these people and realizing that there are folks out there that really want people to stand up, right? They want people to say, not on my watch. This is going to come to a stop, right? Like the quote I read from John Rich earlier: "You come out to my kids, I'm going to kill you." Right? We've become afraid to say that as a society because it's so wicked, politically incorrect, right? Oh, I got news for you, man. Political correctness needs to take a back seat to taking care of kids and women, right? And men. You know, there are videos. You could watch videos from now until the time I go live tomorrow, right? Nonstop, without seeing the same one twice, of people running up and punching strangers in the face for no other reason than to punch them in the face. We've lost it as a world, right? This, unfortunately, has brought out the worst in a lot of people, right? The things that people will do solely because they want to have a record and film it. Thank God the phone didn't exist when I was a kid, because when I was as stupid as I was, God knows what I would have done, right? But I'm telling you wholeheartedly. Hey, Brock Bandy, good to see you. Yeah, speaking what you believe, right? Speak what you believe. And you know, if somebody doesn't believe what you do, and you want to tell them that, lower your voice an entire octave, right? Don't get louder, get quieter. Don't yell, whisper. But truth is truth, right? And all the eloquence and all of the BS and all of the politics, truth is truth, right? 300,000 kids are missing. What the hell are we doing about it, right? And honestly, I'm not here to tell you I'm smart enough to know what to do. I don't know how you find them. I don't know how you get them back. I don't. But people smarter than me better start working on it. But I can tell you this. Next year, we're going to have 600,000 we're going to be talking about if we don't get our fecal matter together and quickly. So if we spend a lot of time politicking to not give another party a win, right, then we better hold their feet, their hands, their head, their back, and their chest to the fire. This needs to be the time where we say, this isn't going to happen. We're going to freak out. We're going to protest. We're going to do whatever has to be done because we we are to a point now where we know, right? We know. It may not have occurred to anybody before, and I'm not saying I'm Nostradamus or I'm intelligent or whatever, but unless you're kind of a convict and you've been through the system or whatever, you may not consider things like, all right, so who did she sell these kids to? We take for granted that she was Epstein's right-hand woman. Obviously, she's a dirtbag, and she was helping to procure these people. We know that because the victims have ID'd her. Okay. Well, let's talk about who you were sold to. How did they get a pass? Okay, I'm sorry, but they're bigger scumbags than she is. If what we believe to be true is true, and I gotta believe that what we believe is true, these aren't just Johns, right? That are paying to have you know what with kids. These are the people who are shaping the politics of the world going to do this. They got to go, man. They got to go. You're really going now? All right, Real T. Thank you for spending some time with us this morning. We really appreciate it. I really do. Money. Keeping their names on the list silent. It's politics is what keeping the names on the list silent. You see, the problem this time is we're really, really good, right? We're really, really good at getting pissed at a Democrat or getting pissed at a Republican. But if you got, say, who knows, just throw out for you know what's in giggles. Let's say there were 30 people on that list. Now, I think it was probably a lot more than that, but let's just say there were 30 people on that list for the sake of argument, right? If 15 of them are Republicans and 15 of them are Democrats and a couple of them are high ranking, and we know allegedly, right? I'd hate to get another one. Allegedly, Bill Clinton spent some time going back and forth to that island, right? Allegedly, he had to ditch the Secret Service to go do it. So it wasn't one of those situations where, because a lot of people went to that island for, he tried to legitimize what he was and what he did. And a lot of people do that. Do I think that I think if there was ever going to be anybody that would be willing to burn this down, it's probably the guy that's about to take office, because I think he gives a little bit less of a crap about the establishment in general. And I know that people would argue that, but if you go back and listen and watch his first inauguration, the panic on all of the people behind him was one of my favorite political moments. Anybody, Kim? No, he's not. I mean, you can have fun with that, but this is the kind of shit. Sorry, and this is why we normally don't talk about politics. He's not on the list. He's not. I mean, you could do this forever. Now, did he ride on a plane? He did, and this is, by the way, not hard to chase down. Right, the manifests for the island versus people that flew on the plane. What this guy did, and he did it because, in my opinion, he wired every one of these planes for sound. And at every function anywhere, as people were getting ready to leave, Bruce Willis was on this guy's plane, right? You think Bruce Willis is a dirtbag? Think he headed off to that island? He's, by all accounts, never met the dude, never hung out with the dude, but he would say, oh, you guys are going west? My plane's going. Everybody jump on it. And he would pack people. This was done constantly. You want to hate Trump? Hate him, right? Plenty of reasons to. Knock yourself out. But yeah, they weren't. See, this is so easy. This is just low-hanging fruit, right? The guy got kicked out of Mar-a-Lago for doing exactly what he did, right? Fact. It's researchable. You can find pictures of anybody with anybody, right? This is where I talked about earlier with discernment. And guess what? I can find pictures of him with other people that are massive, or a great example is the Diddyverse currently. You know how many people email me every week to say President Barack Obama hung out with Diddy, and they'll send me 4 pictures to prove they hung out. And in a couple of the pictures, they're absolutely not doing the photo op thing. They're laughing. Doesn't mean they hung out. What it means is these people go to parties, and literally their publicists are ensuring that they can get pictures with as many of these people as they possibly can. That's the purpose, right, of this. And then they release these to Getty Images, to all of these places. It makes my job difficult, right? Because when you start chasing this down, you can't name somebody that I can't put in a picture with Diddy. It's literally almost impossible. Trump's another one you can put in a picture with almost anybody, because for the longest time, he was just a big name in New York. By the way, he was a big name in New York that no one hated. He had the most popular reality show in history, right? And I'm not here advocating for him or anyone else, but discernment's going to have to be a big thing going forward. If you believe what gets fed to you, don't believe what I spoon feed to you. Go research it. Chase the stuff down, because it gets very, very easy to just listen, right? Ali Carter did mention Biden and Obama. She did, right? But I can't prove any of that. I can't. And I don't platform people as a rule of thumb. I don't bring people on who are going to say things that I have absolutely no ability to put any kind of if I could say so-and-so definitely was at this party with this person that night, and they've got a story that comes out of that, I'm going to believe the story, and I would platform it. I'm not telling you I don't believe Ali Carter, because that's not the case. I'm going to believe people, right, until I have reasons not to. But you got to realize, yeah. Well, and this becomes an issue, does it not? Is that not a problem? Because it is. See, unfortunately, it is. Because already, if I had been platforming people that I had the ability to platform, I would have done what someone else and someone else and someone else already has done, which is put somebody on who would have talked for 2 hours about a horrific event that happened, but it was someone else's story. This person stole someone else's story, including the pictures. Now, am I saying she didn't go through something? I think she went through something. But it's friggin' scary that we're to the point now, because of what we do, that anyone can say anything. Anyone can say anything. So what you're left with is doing stuff like chasing down flight logs to Little St. James. Not the airplane logs, because that friggin' plane flew around more often than not without him on it. For real. He had 3 planes. Obviously, this was an operation. They were doing everything they could to get as much info on anybody that was famous. But this was an op. And you can speculate whether or not this op was being run by another government, because there are a lot of people who do speculate that. Who knows? I sure don't. And it gets back to, once again, to that's why it's so hard to find the truth these days. It's ridiculous. It is. But it also isn't. And this is why, hold on one second. John, how are you? No, it's hard to find the truth, because bullshit reigns supreme. Because laws can be passed to give someone an opportunity to go after somebody, because they're not gonna let someone win. They're not going to give someone a win. For instance, here we go. He's a convicted rapist. Did you hear that? Hear that? Do me a favor. If you happen to believe that, put a 2 in the chat. And if you happen not to believe that, put a 3 in the chat. And I don't care which one you vote on. I don't. I'm making a point that has nothing to do with whether or not that is real. What I'm doing is making a point that there's a lot of people on planet Earth that don't believe the story's real. And that was in an environment where, if you had taken him to court, right, for giving birth to Diddy, he would have been convicted. And if you don't believe that, then there's a problem. You've not researched it. You've been spoon-fed. I don't like the guy, but do some research. Honestly, spend some time deep diving. It's a pretty wild thing. It's difficult to wrap your dome around some of the stuff that has happened in the last 5 years. You do realize that they tried to impeach this dude prior to him being elected. Bill C's was a little different, wasn't it? Bill C's had a mountain of evidence behind it. The person that it happened to with Clinton went and got photographed the day it happened. She told her story to a crap load of people. She didn't pop up 25 years later and say, hey, guess what happened? And I'm not saying, but I'm saying, right? It was real easy with Bill Clinton. And as very often happens, these people don't do something once, right? This is why they can't be rehabilitated. It's not about sex. It's about dominance, power, and control. And you can't stop that. They continue to reoffend again and again and again. Look at how many people Diddy allegedly. It hasn't been proven yet, but look at the amount of them. It's incredible. If I sense you hate a particular party more than you love this country, I get wrenchy. Well, that's the spirit. I think we got to get to a point where I don't care. Right? I'm not sure if you were around in the beginning, but I said we shouldn't have any incumbents in. That man has been in office before. I don't want anybody that's been in office before. Nobody. I think we kick every single one of them out and we start from scratch. It worked the last time because they were brewers, they were lawyers, they were doctors, they were not politicians. What the hell is a politician? Very famously, our first president here in the United States, they had a little private meeting to say, we would like to elect you king. No joke. You can research this. And he said, you have bumped your heads. I'm paraphrasing. They built this thing, but it went so well, they thought, boy, why risk it? Right? The next guy we get's going to suck. Let's just go with this guy. Then he went back to work, which is what politicians should do after 4 years. Back to whatever they do. You've been in office 30 years. I promise you, I don't want anything. You can't stay in that town and not get covered in filth. Honestly. You don't have to agree with me, nor like me, man. Oh, again. Let me say something else, just because this is so effing boring. Every single phone call in the United States of America, every single email in the United States of America, and every single text message in the United States of America has been recorded, right? This is going back a long time. I know this because I was in court and I said to my attorney, if I had my phone, right? If we could get my phone, which was in an evidence locker and it had been for years, I was in prison. I said, if we could get my phone, I guarantee you that the texts would be on the phone. And he said, the phone was destroyed, right? It wasn't considered evidence. I had already pled guilty, right? I was already in prison. This was a different case. So everything had been destroyed. And I went, oh God. He goes, don't worry about it. We'll just go and get it. And I said, what? They got a warrant to go get the text messages that had been sent years earlier. There is not a phone call in the U.S. they don't have on a recording on, right? The largest buildings in the U.S. are owned by the NSA, and they're nothing but computers, and all they're doing is storing all of that info, right? For real. So I assure you, if there's something out there that they have on someone, they've already heard it. When they were talking about whether or not this person had colluded with that person, it's smoke and friggin' mirrors, right? If they're talking about whether or not the Bidens did this, this, and this, it's smoke and mirrors. They know everything. You're not getting around it being recorded. Now they'll say, we don't listen to it. Nobody listens to it unless we can go and get a warrant and do all of those things. And maybe that's the truth. Who knows? But they know. This isn't a mystery whether or not this really went on or that really went on. All of it is a con at this point. And it's why everybody's got to go. But yeah, show me a man and I'll find you a crime. No kidding. But here's the deal. Yeah, a little blow in the White House, right? That's there. Not a shocker to me, right? His son has a drug problem. I'm not mad at him about that. I really am not. And I'm not ultra horrified that there's some blow in the White House. There's a lot of worse stuff going on. I'm a little more concerned with the 300,000 kids that are missing. And the fact that you don't hear that a lot anywhere above, right? Social media will talk about it at the risk of being demonetized, but the big dogs up top won't. Why not? Why not? No, he's not on a hunger strike. Because if he was on a hunger strike, Johnny Scoville, they would have taken him out of the unit that he was in, and they would have put him in a dry cell. Once he makes the announcement, yeah, if you tell them, hey, I'm going on a hunger strike, they're going to pull you out of the unit you're in because they are afraid that you will snack when no one's looking, right? Because a lot of people would like to get the press of a hunger strike and say they're not eating and this and that, but they'd like to be able to, maybe neck a top ramen on the side or something. Well, I don't know because allegedly that has changed, but they absolutely will force feed him. It used to be 9 meals. So after your third day of, the turtle suit, we used to call it the oven mitt, right? Hey, see Crafts, Chats, and Catastrophe? Kick her out of my chat. Well, the comments are still coming. Thank you. Isn't that a beautiful thing? You know what? Free speech rules supreme. I believe wholeheartedly in free speech. Do it at your house. With all due respect, this is mine. So, love from the Bronx, New York. Love New York. I'm telling you, it's the city so nice they named it twice. You got to love New York. It's in my humble opinion, it's the center of the universe. It really is. And I want to see it back to its absolute glory. And I think it will. I think we will get back to, it does look like an oven mitt and you can't bend in it. If anyone's wondering what Realty is talking about, if you tell people that you want to unalive yourself, right? And very often, if you tell people that you're going on a hunger strike, right? If you are a Rastafarian, can you be plant-based? Yes, you absolutely can. Oddly enough, this is crazy, right? But I can answer this question. For whatever reason, I got kind of fascinated by this, right? I kind of got fascinated by this. And it had to do originally because I got a job when I was at Terre Haute, and I ordered all of the special meals for people that were eating kosher, so Jewish people, and for Muslims who were doing the halal and then the universal. And I had to learn all of these different things as I was ordering all of the food. And we got a Rastafarian that came to our prison. And yeah, we catered completely to the Rastafarian diet. The only thing they will not cater to, obviously, is the use of weed. And I kind of found that a little interesting, right? And I say that because they'll cater to other, like the Native Americans are allowed tobacco, not 7 days a week or whatever, but when they're doing religious ceremonies, because they believe that the prayers are carried on the smoke, they would give them pouches of real tobacco for the sweat lodge ceremonies and things like that. And they never, ever smuggled any of it back into the unit and sold it to the boys. I say that because honestly, they would beat the bark off each other if they caught him. But I had a guy that would sell me a pouch every time he came back, $160, which sounds like a lot of money for a pouch of tobacco, but it wasn't. That was dirt cheap. I could sell 16 cigarettes and break even. And then you'd have everything else in there. And when I say cigarettes, like you could pick your teeth with them, you know what I mean? Like you would lay down one piece of tobacco after another and roll the thing over. Terrible, terrible. Yes, you can be kosher in prison. You would not believe all of the ways that they will accommodate diet in prison. So let's see, you have kosher, you have halal, you have vegetarian, you have there's a special diet for people who are on, it's called the renal diets for people who are having problems with their kidneys. We had to do that one. You had people with celiac disease. So we had to have a special diet for people with celiac disease. There's probably 16 or 17 different select diets. Yeah, celiac. Here's the thing with celiac, though. Of all of the things on the list, you can go in there and say, I'm going to eat kosher, and you don't have to be a Jew. They're gonna talk to you, and they're going to ask you some questions about why you want to do it. But you can eat kosher even if you're not Jewish. I ate kosher for about 2 years. It was just better food because of the unit that I was at or whatever. But the other side of that, no idea where I was going. How about that? Yeah, no, they're accommodating to a point, more freestyle. But oh yeah, what I was saying was with celiacs, you have to be sent out to medical. You got to do a bunch of tests because it became an epidemic. The second people heard what celiac was, everybody in prison started saying they had celiac disease because they thought they were going to get a better diet. So you actually get tests for it. Crohn's, yep, absolutely. That's another one. Yeah. Trisha Kelly says, Johnny Scoville, nice to see you. And even better to hear from you. Yeah, when I was incarcerated, when I was with Casper, actually, when we were in the hole, I tell this story all the time because people go, they take such good care of inmates. It sounds like they do. Like the stuff I'm telling you makes it sound like they are very accommodating and they really take care of you. What it boils down to is the food's dog crap, no matter what list you're on. But if you're on one of those special diets, you get a microwave dog crap meal versus the one they make for all parties involved, right? But the food sucks. It always sucks. It really does. And as far as they'll say these guys get free medical care. Number one, it isn't free. Right? I mean, it's cheap as hell, but they do charge you for every single visit that you go in for. Clinton passed that law. It's $2, I think. It's $2 for every single visit, which again, you're like $2. Okay. But if you make $17 a month and it's $2 per visit, do the math on that and equate it to what you'd be paying on the street. You pay a lot of money in there. $2 is a ton. And the medical, it's a running joke that no matter what you go in there with, they're going to say, you need to drink more water and do what you can to try to get some sleep. Drink more water is what they tell you for everything, right? For everything. But I said, I have a toothache that hurts so badly that I can't sleep. I can't do anything. It's the worst toothache I've ever felt. And that was in the first week of September. They got me to the dentist and pulled it in the second week in January. And it was a rugged, the only thing, I was a very new convict. I was new to all of this stuff. And Casper wasn't. Casper actually jacked the food slot. He put his arm through the hole when they came to get the food back. The thing's open. He just put his arm out. I said, what are you doing? He goes, I got this. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing, man? They're going to come in here. He's like, I got this. So they came up and they're like, what's your problem? And he had already bucked on him 2 or 3 times. He had already injured a cop. So they came up and the guy said, what's your problem? He's like, you're taking Rock to medical. You're getting his teeth worked on, right? I can't stand being in here with him. It's killing. I had to keep water running on it. It was the only relief. So I would just sit at the fountain, at the sink and keep water running on it for hours at a time. And I was driving everybody nuts. And there's 4 people in a 2-man cell. But yeah, the healthcare inside prison is so bad. You cannot believe it. You cannot believe it. It is as bad as it gets. Normally they will not fill a tooth. They will only do extractions. And that's so depressing when they're pulling out a tooth and they say to you, this thing's healthy. You sure you don't want to tough it out till you get out 3.5 years from now? No, go ahead and pull it. Hurts like hell. Pull it. So, and by the way, that's not policy. That's just a lazy employee. I thought it was policy. And then the last prison I was at, which was an FCI in Sheridan, Oregon. And when I got to Sheridan, I went in because it finally came up for my teeth to be cleaned. I had been on a list for 5 years for teeth cleaning. And my number finally came up. And when I went in, she went, boy, you got about 4 or 5 cavities. I said, yeah, I know. I said, I'm trying to tough it out until I get out of here. And she's like, why don't you just get them filled? I'm like, in here? She goes, yeah, I could fill them. And I was like, fantastic. She said, put in a request. I said, man, the teeth cleaning took 5 years. So she just set up, filled 2 teeth and said, come in tomorrow and say you're in pain, that you can't handle it. And it's an emergency and I'll fill the rest of them. She was a very, very kind human being. Yeah, very, very kind individual. So here's the deal, Real T. Real T asks, what about Suboxone and methadone? So this is part of the First Step Act. You were not allowed to have methadone or Suboxone in the federal system. Nobody. The exception to that rule would be if you were being treated for pain with buprenorphine because you can't take, other types of products, or if you were being treated for long-term pain and they were using methadone versus a more expensive painkiller, because methadone is the cheapest long acting painkiller on earth. It's really, really cheap. So this is one of those situations that you never had a chance. If you're an addict or whatever, you're not getting it. And most guys go in and instantly start using dope. But on the first STEP Act, it changed, but you would have to be on it on the street, get arrested. When you went to jail, they would continue to give it to you. And as long as you're not getting caught selling it, right, or doing anything stupid, you could be on it your entire sentence because it is a prescription you're coming in on from the street. That law has changed. I don't think too many people are able to, because if you're taking if you're taking Suboxone on the street, and this is not, I'm not being funny, but if you're taking Suboxone on the street, you're probably not committing crimes that are going to get you sent to prison. Honestly, Suboxone's cheap. You don't have to go rob banks to support your Suboxone habit, right? So it's rare. Tommy, here in the UK, people are pulling their own teeth because they can't get a dentist. Oh my God, how horrific. How horrific. By the way, if you weren't here, someone would pop up and say, we need to do more with the socialized medicine because it's so much better. Truth is, nothing ever works. Nothing. Voldemort, you like that? She-Devil performed at the halftime show. She is so overrated. I agree with you. I'm not a fan, right? Well, there are people who do start off, some people start off abusing Suboxone first. It's a rarity. I mean, it really is. It's a rarity, but it does happen. There are people that abuse Suboxone. If you started out on an opiate, then Suboxone's not going to get you high. It's not going to do anything to you. But if you had never done anything and that's the first drug you do, it acts completely different. It's a very odd, it's an odd substance that way. Oh, he did H first. Okay. If he did it, so he was using, so if he did H first, it's a complicated show. Watch my Suboxone show. Honestly, if it's a complicated answer, that would take probably 45 minutes. Depending on how much H he was doing, he wasn't feeling the Suboxone. So using it and abusing it could be two different things. It's a very odd drug to understand, right? But it doesn't get H addicts high, I promise. I'm an H addict. And I take Suboxone every day, by the way. And I will take it every day for the rest of my life. Currently I take 2 milligrams a day. What was that lame Queen Bee performance on NFL this weekend? I did not see it. I may see some clips of it that get down to the big red button. He spent hundreds of dollars a day, or he lied. Irish, if he was telling you that he was spending hundreds a day on Suboxone on the street, he was lying to you. Sorry, but that's the truth. If he told you he was spending hundreds a day on Suboxone inside prison, a strip of Suboxone in prison in the feds, a strip was going for, on a yard where the stuff was really cheap, it was $100 a piece. And on a yard where it was really expensive, it was $400 for one strip. So, but that's the most expensive. And no one was doing, I mean, I guess if he was doing a strip a day inside, but that's extreme. I mean, that's a lot. No, we don't follow Beyonce. And it's going to be, me either. Yeah, it's the spirit. I want them to see the halftime show dead. The NFL is down. The NBA is down 30%. All of these big organizations are taking a beating. And do you know why? Because we're sick of it. Don't support these entities, agencies, companies, governments, whatever, that are hurting people and using cash as a way to make it stop. Right? For real. People in power who have power and cash have got to stop abusing people. If not, this world doesn't get better. And the only way it's going to happen is if we say enough's enough. I went back to dope in 2012 after prison, but went in Suboxone quickly and have been nice since 2013. Guess what? I don't know how this happens. See what happens when you leave Johnny Scoville around? Fantastic. Congratulations. That is awesome, Real T. I love that. I really, really do. I love that. Woofy says, time for a change. And I may as well put that up there while I have the trophy up. And Majesty says, because they suck. All of these things, very, very, very solid. The magic is gone from a lot of sports and entertainment for me. You know what? I'm glad that you said that. Because I will tell you that for me, it's gone. It's gone. UFC, I could see that. MMA, I could see that. I tend not to watch, honestly, I don't watch anything these days. I really don't. You overdosed on 12/21/12, and that was your last run. Do you know something? You should send me an email. I have a really weird 12/21/12 story for you. I know exactly where I was and exactly what I was doing. Let's send me an email. I'll send you a story because that was a very epic day for a lot of people in prison. Why would you be embarrassed to tell that you were still on Suboxone? Tell you what, people that want to give you crap for that will disappear very quickly off this channel. I don't let opinions, right? I will never let someone's opinion on this channel cost someone their life. And we got people who listen to this channel who are trying to get off fent. Now, they're trading one drug for another. If you believe that, then they're trading fentanyl for Suboxone, right? Which is like trading Nolan Ryan for Jim Fregosi. Worst trade in baseball history, by the way. But if you're getting off a fent, I'm not going to have somebody here badmouth that or say that someone's bad. If you were taking something real tea, if you were taking, I don't know, lisinopril, right? Let's say you were taking something for blood pressure. No one's ever going to give you crap for that, right? Why would they give you crap for this? You're taking something to help fight a disease. And I know for a damn fact that you ain't catching a buzz on it. Doesn't do that, right? Just makes your brain believe, yeah, you're trading life for death. Exactly, Irish. Exactly. That's a hell of a trade. That's a hell of a trade. And you know what? Here's the not being ashamed for taking a medication for a disease, right? That's what you're doing. You're taking a medication for a disease. And guess what? As technology gets better, I'm hoping that 4 years from now, there's an even better version, and I'm going to take that, right? I robbed banks. I lied to my family. Anything bad you could do, I did, right? And I traded that for 2 milligrams of Suboxone a day. Hell of a trade. Instead of screwing people's lives up, I do pretty much everything I can to try to help people these days. God bless Suboxone, right? It's a hell of a drug. Hell of a drug. Good trade. Proud of you. Yes, harm reduction. Beautiful thing, right? Not everybody is going to be ready to quit. Statistically speaking, that's just how it goes, right? You're not ready to quit until you are, right? Captain sobriety took me 46 years. You know how long I tried? I couldn't do it. Not until I met Q. And Q would be the first to say to you, had nothing to do with me, right? First time I ever heard anyone say, when the pupil is ready, the teacher appears. The first time I ever heard that, it was Q. And he said that in relation to me, you know? And I said, nah, man. You know, there were tons of teachers. He goes, yeah, there weren't any pupil, right? The teachers were always there. You just weren't ready. And I don't know. Honestly, I spend a lot of time thinking about it. I robbed the 3-letter agencies and then just went downhill from there. Well, you're going uphill now, right? You're leaving the earth a better place than you found it. Sounds so easy, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Seriously. Leave the earth a better place than you found it. The stupidity of a lot of the stuff we did. We're going to bust somebody's balls, right? We're going to bust somebody's balls who was drinking a fifth of bourbon a day, and now they're drinking 6 beers a day, and we're going to go, hey, you got to get off that stuff. Maybe let them level out a bit, right? Because a fifth of bourbon a day to 6 beers a day is a hell of a job of harm reduction. And it's going to make the process of going further in that easier, right? It's a good trade. It's a nice step down. If you're smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day and you've been doing that forever and it's really hard, hey, maybe try breathing vape in. And I know people are going to go, vape's even more dangerous. Once again, do a little deep dive because it isn't. If you're lighting something on fire and breathing it into your lungs, you're lighting it on fire. You know what fire burns at? What's that? Fahrenheit 4 something. What? If you're breathing in a cool vapor, I promise your lungs are a lot less piss off than if you're breathing in a fire burning smoke. But PSA, don't ever change any medications before talking to a doctor, and don't quit. Here's the thing, peeps. There are medications out there that if you quit cold turkey, it can kill you, right? The benzodiazepine family, Valium, Adderall. I'm sorry. Yeah, Adderall. No, Xanax. Sorry, wrong family. Xanax, Valium. Ativan, all of those tranquilizers act the same way that alcohol does. Alcohol is the same way. The second leading cause of death in jails in the United States of America is people who go in and lie when they ask them if they're addicted to anything, and they die of acute alcohol. They go into the delirium tremens and they have seizures, and it kills them. It's horrific. So if your substance of choice is alcohol, or if it's benzodiazepines, you really need to talk to a doctor and have them ease you off of that professionally. By the way, if it's any other substance, please talk to a doctor before you quit. They're fantastic these days. The science behind addiction has come a long way. We understand it way more than we used to. And there are things that you can do. Thank you. 451. Thank you. Clonazepam. Well done. It's another one. Yep, to be sure. Clonazepam, Klonopin. So that's probably pretty close to the top of the food chain when it comes to benzos. These are all also respiratory depressants, which is scary because when you mix multiple respiratory depressants, you stand a very good chance of overdosing. And this is the #1 cause of death in America today. Medical withdrawal is imperative with benzos. It absolutely is. And it's also imperative with alcohol. It is. It's imperative. But as a rule of thumb, talk to doctors because they can give you medications these days. Now that we understand that the malfunctioning reward center of the brain is what keeps people addicted, right? We can do things to trick that part of the brain. In fact, the drug, the active ingredient in Narcan, they give to people who are quitting alcohol. Now, obviously, it seems counterproductive, but what it does, you can continue to get drunk. It's not like Antabuse, where if you take it and you drink, you're going to get sick, but it turns off the reward centers of the brain's ability to reward you for drinking. If you've ever suffered with a addiction, like for me, it was opioids. And I would be in the car like this, shaking, right? Waiting for the guy to deliver the stuff, sick as hell. Puts it in the palm of your hands, you close it and get in the car. And if you were watching from a distance, you would have thought I already fixed. By just having it in my hand. Doesn't make any sense. But what happens is the reward center of your brain goes, you did it. And it releases all of these chemicals, which is half of the addiction, I promise, if not more. And two guys sitting in a car that were shaking, saying, we're going to fix right here, right in the parking lot. Jack would always look at me and go, we can make it home. I go, yeah, drive it. 10 more minutes. Because you don't feel sick with that thing in your hand anymore. Your brain takes over. People who are addicted to alcohol, right? The first sip touches their lips. It's so good when it touches your lips. It's so good. That sip touches your lips and instantly you feel better. It's going to take alcohol 20 minutes to get into your system, get through the lining of your stomach, get into the bloodstream, do what it does. Dopamine is definitely one of the things it releases. It's actually a cocktail. It's the same cocktail very often that you get when your first child is handed to you at the doctor's office. It's designed to make you bond to that child. It's screaming, right? It's crapping on itself. It's a horrific little ball of terror. But you bond to it and love it in a way that can't be explained. What happens if the first time you do heroin, the same thing goes on in your brain? Well, that happens to people with a malfunctioning reward center of the brain, right? Sorry. Yeah, I won't look back either end of music. It's absolutely safer. You take clonazepam and sertraline. Sertraline is Zoloft, and clonazepam is Klonopin, right? So, I would say always be careful, right? Always be careful. The nice thing is that one of those is not a respiratory depressant. The sertraline would probably go in the opposite direction. Yeah, it's right. Ring the bell. And it, did you not know that was Zoloft? There's nothing wrong. I'm not bad-mouthing Zoloft. Did I say something bad about Zoloft? By the way, I am not a doctor, people. I'm a drug addict. Well, that's all I am. That is what I am. There is just so much misinformation online in all directions. Sometimes I wonder if it is organized. It is. We know it is. Sadly, we really know it is. We recently did a show, and we were talking about the case with Blake Lively. And Blake Lively is suing not so much because of the fact that she was harassed, right? But more than anything else is that they had put out a campaign to destroy her. And you probably remember hearing that she was a real shrew and that she was very, very hard to work with. And she just sucked, right? In all ways, nobody liked her. That was done in a professional smear campaign. And allegedly, these are the same companies that handle this smear stuff, these psyops, these PR campaigns, whatever you want to call them. They're the same people that are working on the two Seans and what's going on with them, at least one of them for sure, right? Allegedly. But it's frightening to think that there are people like me out here that are getting paid to run with a specific narrative. And if you got 5 or 10 people that had 250,000 people a shot, you can really steer the narrative. I take Zoloft every day as well as Wellbutrin. Yes, stop the stigma is right. There's nothing. Why is it that if you take something, right, to aid with something that is going wrong with your body, but if you take something to aid that's going on in your mind, that's somehow you're weak or you're whatever. I'm mentally ill. I suffer from mental illness. It is what it is, and I am not at all ashamed of that. I'm also a recovering heroin addict, and you know what? I'm not ashamed of that either. I'm not proud of the stuff that I did, but you're left with an option anytime something like that happens, and your option is you can pretend it didn't happen. Right? You can do everything within your power to hide all of the stuff that you've done that isn't right. Or you can draw a line in the sand and you can say, never again, right? This is not going to happen on my watch. And you know what? Maybe I picked up a couple of things along the way that could benefit somebody else who's in the same situation. Yeah. I had to walk out of a pretty dark freaking forest to be where I'm at right now. And I left footprints, right? So I find that my brain works better if I walk back into that forest every now and then and see if I can find a few people to lead out, right? I like it when you sing allegedly better. That sounded possessed. That's funny. Allegedly. There you go. All right, people, you're going to see more content today, I promise. Joe that you know, shut right up. Hey. Longtime friend of the boat. Joe that you know, good to see you, man. I hope you had a very Merry Christmas. You got here just in time, man. I love that. Merry Christmas. Thank you, Mouse. What a kind thing to say. Yeah, I am going to be throwing up more content today. You have my word. Do me a favor. If you got a wrench, can you throw up some links to Relatable Reese? Because you're probably going to run into me over there. And you want to make sure you hit subscribe there. That is one of the other people that is joining the fight, or maybe I should say I'm joining hers, right? Because a lot of what we're going to be doing in 2025 is based on the fact that my girl said, not on my watch. And instead of just saying, you know what, I'm going to leave, she said, I'm going to get enough evidence to destroy this group, and then I'm going to leave. And that's pretty courageous crap. I have nothing but love for her. Please make sure you get over there and hit subscribe. And Johnny Scoville, the third leg of that today. Johnny Scoville and myself are going to be on the Sean Atwood program. We're going to crack the seal, and then we're going to hurt ourselves. And you know what? I'm going to eat that tube faster than Johnny Scoville does. Whatever. Why? Because I hate them. And the quicker I get it down, the less I'm going to have to taste it. Woofy, she is awesome. She really is. I've been very blessed. Oh my God, that woman is hilarious, says Kim. You know, and the beautiful thing about my girlfriend is she is the exact same person off as she is on. Thank you, Terra Glider. What a great thing to say. I really love that, man. Yeah, no more eggs, please. Joe, you're right, man. No more eggs. The epidemic of fentanyl has made harm reduction so important, from 700 H a day to 2 milligrams of subs. You're a freaking miracle. 6 years sober, and I get so much from the lifeboat. 6 years sober. Congratulations. 6 years is epic. I will be, people, this is going to be a big one in June. I'm going to be celebrating 10 years of no heroin in my life. That sounds so weird. I can't begin to tell you, man. But I will be, it's going to be a big one this June. And I'm going to be celebrating with about 30,000 of my closest friends. Tara, congratulations to everybody fighting the good fight. Keep doing it. You know what? It gets better every day. I promise you it does. It gets better every day. Between now and the next time I see you, reach out and try to save somebody. All right. God bless. Merry Christmas.